What's up, guys? Welcome back to another mock draft. Today, I'm really excited. We got a 2-round mock draft. Let's get right into it. Number one overall pick, it's Bryce Young. We got 2 rounds to get through. It's the obvious pick. Let's move on. Chicago Bears at number 2. It's between Will Anderson and Jalen Carter, and you go either way. 6 in one, a dozen in the other. I really love both players. I'm gonna go Jalen Carter because I think the value of him versus what you could get at that interior defensive line in free agency or in the second, third round is so much different from versus edge, where there's tons of depth in this class and you can get a star to starter caliber player in that second round. 3, the Seahawks. You could think about quarterback, but I'm going Will Anderson. Go BPA, which is obviously Will Anderson. Could be Jalen Carter. Yeah, either way. 4 with the Cardinals. It's between corner, edge, and offensive line. Those are their 3 biggest needs, by far. For me, it's a reach if you take offensive line. The only guy in my top 10 even is Peter Skoronski, and he's at the barely in it. For me, the best player available is Myles Murphy. This is a guy who, honestly, I think could have went number 1 last year, right? He's just as freaky of an athlete as Travon Walker, but actually has some elite production, right? He still needs to work on his pass rush moves, but he's really freaking good. Colts at 5. It looks like this pick's going to be a quarterback. That's what everyone's mocking, and it seems like it. Personally, if I was the GM, I'd probably go offensive line. I'm not sold on Will Levis or CJ Stroud, but if I am taking one, if I'm taking a QB in the top 5, I kind of want to swing, right? And that makes me want to go for Will Levis, but just between the ears, I'm worried. I'm worried about his decision making. I like him coming from a pro style offense, but at the end of the day, for a top 5 pick, it feels a bit risky. Give me CJ Stroud. I do think his floor is definitely higher. I don't know about his ceiling. It's interesting. Him under pressure is definitely concerning. Falcons at 6. You could think Will Levis here. Instead, I'm going to go best player available, Tyree Wilson. Could go Keely Ringo or Joey Porter here, or even Christian Gonzalez, but I'm going to go Tyree Wilson. All right. Detroit at 7. I'm not going Will Levis. I'm not going to Will Levis. I'm actually going to go with one of my favorite fits in the draft. Joey Porter Jr. to the Lions. I think it fits like a glove. I really do. I love it. Panthers at 8. If Will Levis is on the board, I think he's going to be the pick. Apparently, they're in love with Will Levis. I could see them moving up to 2 or 4, or 4 to try to get him. Um, we'll see. But if he's there at 8, I definitely think they're taking him. All right, the Raiders on the clock at 9. Peter Skoronski is a definite thought here. He really is. Jared Verse is also a thought here. I love me some Jared Verse. You could also take, the second corner off the board, which I actually think is what I'm going to do. I love Keely Ringo. He's higher on my board than Peter Skoronski, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Your corner room is very depleted, so getting some talent there. I love it. All right, the Eagles on the board. I've seen Bijan Robinson mocked here so much, and I just don't think so. I think when you have a pick at 31 where you could take Jahmyr Gibbs maybe if you want a first-round running back that bad, but here there's too much value on the board, especially when a guy like Brian Brzee is on the board. Pairing this dude up with Jordan Davis, if you hit on Brzee, he's going to be a freak. His athleticism, he's a former 5-star. I think he might have been the number 1 player in his class, if I'm remembering right. Dude, he's a freak. He's a freak. All right, Houston Texans at 11. And you could go offensive line here. I don't hate it, but I think a guy in Jordan Addison's on the board. This is my wide receiver 1. I am in love with Jordan Addison. Now, if you keep Brandon Cooks, then I'd go Quentin Johnston probably. But let's say you don't. Give me Jordan Addison here. I love Jordan Addison. All right, Seahawks on the board here. You got Will Anderson at 3. This is a bit of an interesting one. I think I'm going to go. Christian Gonzalez would be a great pick, but I just don't think the Seahawks are going to end up doing that. You know what? I'm gonna have some fun. Anthony Richardson goes. I think that's the highest I've had him at any of my mock drafts. But if you're the Seahawks and you really are betting on his upside, which is crazy, Anthony Richardson, don't be surprised if there's a scenario where he could be the number 1 quarterback coming out of this class. There is. If he hits like Josh Allen, he could be the number 1 quarterback coming out of this class. That's a big if, But dude is so athletic. His running is so good. Just the decision making is not there. Between the ears, not there yet. The passing ability, not quite there yet. Definitely some serious upside. All right, Titans at 13, and it's between Skronsky and Johnston. And honestly, Quentin Johnston is such a stud. I talked about Jordan Addison, but don't get me wrong, Quentin Johnston is a close second for me. Ah, yeah, I think it makes a ton of sense. You need a wide receiver after trading away AJ Brown. Yeah. All right, Patriots at 14. Honestly, Peter Skronsky is really tempting here. I don't know how offensive line hasn't been taken yet. There's no great wide receiver on the board. Trenton Simpson is on the board. That's a Bill Belichick thing to do. Is take a Trenton Simpson here. Man, he would love Trenton Simpson as well. I think Peter Skronsky's value is just too good, though, to pass up on. Getting a potentially elite tackle or guard, you can't pass up on that. All right, Jets at 15. I don't mind the idea of Trenton Simpson here either. You've also got Paris Johnson, Brian Branch is on the board. There's a lot of ways you could go with this. I'm going to go with the tackle. I think it's probably your biggest need by outside of quarterback, which is off the board. Steelers, man, they would have loved them some Paris Johnson, but instead they get a stud who falls in their lap in Christian Gonzalez. They are not complaining there. All right, Packers on the board at 17. Michael Mayer is a thought. Jared Verse is also a thought, in my opinion. Brian Branch would be fun to this team as well. Their secondary, not good. Not good this year. Instead, you know what? I'm going Brian Branch. I think it makes a ton of sense. The secondary has not been good. He can do everything for that secondary. I like it. Detroit Lions, they got Joey Porter Jr. And for once, I'm actually going to go with the suggested pick. Jared Verse. I think it makes a ton of sense. This dude's upside is crazy. I could see him being as high as a top 10 pick. I see that scenario. So I love the pick, needless to say. All right, here, I think I'm going right back to the suggested pick. It's Cam Smith. He is the fourth best corner in this class, and he's the last of a true stud corner in this class. I think after him, there's a big drop off. Jalen Jones is really good too, don't get me wrong. But all right, 20. Man, this is a guy who's just so hard to project where he's going to go. Bijan Robinson. I don't really know where he's going to go, but I do think this would be an amazing landing spot for him. Commanders on the board, and I think you probably go offensive line here. Maybe you go Trenton Simpson. The value is definitely there with Trenton Simpson. You know what? The value of Trenton Simpson here is really good. I'm going to take him. All right. New York Giants, you got to be thinking JSN, right? Actually, you might go corner. I'm in love with Jalen Jones. Oh, Jalen Jones is very tempting here. But you need wide receiver help so bad. There's a pretty good drop off after JSN. All right, give him to me. Chargers on the board now. I think Broderick Jones makes a ton of sense. I think Michael Mayer makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I'm going to go Broderick Jones here. All right, Ravens on the board. They would have liked JSN. But instead, they get a very good player in any of these edge guys. My first thought was Felix Anudike-Uzomah, but now I'm starting to second guess myself. What else do we have? I'm starting to second guess myself. I like Antonio Johnson. O'Cyrus Torrence is also a bit of a thought. I'm going with the gut instinct. Felix Anudike-Uzomah. He's a guy, I'm way higher on him than a lot of people, but I love the guy. All right, Denver Broncos. Offensive line is definitely a thought. O'Cyrus Torrence, definitely a thought. But instead, I'm going to go edge, and I'm going to shoot on a guy's upside. And Andre Carter. Once you get him in an NFL weight room, he's 6'7". Dude, he's huge. He got cleared for eligibility. No worries with the Army. And he's a freak. He's a freaking stud. All right, Dallas Cowboys here. I think you've got to go corner because there's a guy on the board who you just can't pass on. Jalen Jones. For sure, first-round talent. I love Jalen Jones. I think if Michael Mayer's on the board at 27, it's a clear-cut pick. I know corner's such a big need. We can address that in round 2. But there's not a single tight end in round 2 that's going to be as good as Michael Mayer. Chiefs at 28. I think we're going right back to the edge room. This is such a loaded edge class. I would go Nolan Smith. Maybe you're worried about the torn pec. I don't think you are, actually. Give me Nolan Smith. I love Nolan Smith. All right, Minnesota Vikings, Clark Phillips. It's such a good fit. Oh, I love it so much. Buffalo Bills, Osiris Torrance. It makes all the sense in the world if Bijan's not on the board. Philadelphia Eagles. We talked about maybe you go Jahmyr Gibbs here at 31. Nah. 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 Actually, I prefer Blake Corum anyways, but, that injury, whatever. I think we go corner here probably. Maybe you go Antonio Johnson, though. That is good value. That is very good value. But no, I think we're going to stick with corner. I really like this corner class, and Devon Witherspoon has just been flying up people's boards. He has, and mine included. Dude could sneak into the first round. Don't be shocked. All right, Texans, we got Bryce Young and Jordan Addison. We got to address that defensive line. They need some serious help, and there's some serious value on the board with B.J. Ojulari. He is a freak there at LSU. He is so good. All right, Pittsburgh, we got to go offensive line. Have to. There is a guy in Anton Harrison who could be a franchise cornerstone at tackle, and you're getting him here in the second round. I think he could go the first round easy. Cardinals, you're going offensive line or corner. I don't love the corners that are on the board. I also don't love the offensive line that's on the board. Maybe you go Andrew Voorhees, a guy I'm really high on. Instead, we're going to go Darnell Wright. Get that tackle. It's the most important position out. Like, one of the most important things you can do is draft offensive line. And you desperately need it. So, there we go. Seattle, we got Will Anderson and Anthony Richardson. Forgot I took AR-15. Hence the chuckle. I don't mind linebacker here, honestly. I think Drew Sanders is an absolute stud and would make a ton of sense here. I also think John Michael Schmitz could make a lot of sense here. Or Andrew Voorhees. I like them both. I think center is a pretty big need. I'm going to go John Michael Schmitz. It's the highest I think I've had him go in any mock. Well, I've never done a second, but... Alright, Colts. We're gonna go offensive line. We gotta protect our guy, and I'm gonna take Andrew Voorhees. I think he has some tackle versatility. I think it's good value, and you're stealing away from the Rams. I would have probably taken him here. But the Rams, they take a falling Antonio Johnson. Isaiah Foskey is also gonna go somewhere in this range, but Antonio Johnson's just higher on my board, and the Rams just need good players, dude. They are down bad. Falcons here. We took Tyree Wilson, and I think here I'm probably gonna go wide receiver. Honestly, I really like me some Josh Downs, and trade away Calvin Ridley. Definitely need some receiver help. Raiders, we took Keely Ringo. I think we gotta go offensive line. It's such a huge need. Gotta protect whoever's throwing the ball, and my next guy up is actually Blake Freeland out of BYU. So there we have it. Saints, huh? To QB or not to QB? Do we take Tanner McKee here? I think we do. I think it makes a lot of sense. All right. Browns. Man, they need interior defensive line. It's bad. But Isaiah Foskey is actually a very solid run stopper. And that's why they need the interior defensive line so bad. And because of that, I'm going to take Isaiah Foskey here. Great value as well. Panthers at 42. I don't mind Noah Sewell here. That's actually a pretty solid pick. I also don't mind going edge here, though. I mean, who's on the board still? Zach Harrison is on the board. You've got... Who else do we even have? Man, there's not a lot left on the board, is there? Okay. Wow, they're really low on some guys. Anyways, off topic. Let's get back to it. And I think here I'm going to go linebacker. I'm going to go Noah Sewell. Dude is an athletic freak. He was looked at as like a guaranteed first-round prospect. Cooled off throughout the season, but still a phenomenal pick. Here, this is one of my favorite fits in the draft. Darnell Washington to the Titans. The run game is what they do, and he is such a good run blocker. It's like having another lineman out there. He is so good. All right, Patriots, we got Peter Skoronski in the first. Noah Sewell will be a great pick here. Instead, I'm going to look corner or wide receiver. I like Garrett Williams here, despite the injury. I also really like Jalen Hyatt, though. This dude could open up so many things for an offense that needs big plays. All right, the Jets on the board. And I'm going to go, I'm actually going to go interior offensive. Well, he's not listed at interior offensive line, but he is. Cooper Beebe. This dude, he projects as a guard, and I think it's phenomenal value. I know it says terrible pick because we already took a tackle. I'm doubling down on that O line. We need it. We need it, dude. All right, Steelers. We got to go D line here. We have to. And there's a guy who you can shoot on, has so much upside. Gervon Dexter. I actually have him over Siaki Ika. I'm not very high on Siaki Ika. I think he's a great nose tackle, but I just don't see a lot of upside for him, honestly. All right, Packers here. We got to go with a pass catcher. We have to go with a pass catcher here. And there's one guy. I would take Xavier Hutchinson here. He would be my top receiver. But for the Packers specifically, Rashee Rice fits the kind of wide receiver they not only like, but need. All right, Lions on the board. We got Joey Porter and Jared Verse. That is such a good first round. And here, we're going to keep on just taking the value where it's at. And here, I think it's probably at, I don't know. Oh, oopsie. Wait a second, did I not take Drew Sanders already? Why won't this scroll? What the heck? Oh, I guess I just took Noah Sewell. I thought Drew Sanders was already off the board. Well, isn't that something? Well, that's my bad. Hey, good players fall, but yeah, no, the value's definitely at linebacker then. Give me Drew Sanders. They're not complaining. All right, Seahawks here. Now, we took John Michael Schmitz. We got to go defense then. And here's where do we take Siaki Ika here? I think we're going to go corner, actually. I know Seahawks usually like their late round corners, whatever. I don't care. There's someone on the board who's just Garrett Williams. He's injured right now, but he's got such a lead upside. I love it. All right, Buccaneers. We took Bijan in the first. I think we're going to go right back to the corners, and this time we're going to take Emmanuel Forbes. Jacksonville Jaguars really could use a wide receiver or a tackle here, maybe even a tight end is interesting, but instead we're going to go with a wide receiver. Why is Kayshon Boutte listed? Didn't he? He's going back to college, right? Unless I'm stupid. We're going to take Xavier Hutchinson here. I love Xavier Hutchinson. I've got a round 2 grade on him. I think he's a stud. So there you have it. Washington Commanders, we got to go O-line here. Next guy up, DeJuan Jones. He has such elite upside. He's so big, but such elite upside. That right tackle at Ohio State this year. Miami Dolphins, we're going to take my next running back on the board, Blake Corum. I like him just a little bit better than Jahmyr Gibbs. Just a little bit. All right, Giants on the board now. Probably going to go corner. It is such a huge need, and I really like Eli Ricks. So, all right, Chargers on the board now. This could be a good spot for Siaki Ika. I just don't see the hype with Siaki Ika. I'm not nearly as high on him, but there's some people who really love him. I don't know how the NFL feels about him, but here we go. All right, he's so big. He's so huge, dude. Chicago Bears. Wow, that was terrible. Jalen Carter at 2. We're going to take offensive line. It's such a massive need for y'all. I'm not a huge fan of any of these interior guys, so we're going to go with a tackle. Matthew Bergeron out of Syracuse. All right, Dallas Cowboys on the board. And we're actually going to take a running back. We're going to take Jahmyr Gibbs. Tony Pollard's a free agent. You can't pay him. You can't pay 2 running backs. So we're going to draft Jahmyr Gibbs here. Cincinnati Bengals. I think you got to go corner here. Just got to get a replacement for Eli Apple. And we're going to go... I do like Deonte Banks. I like Tyreek Stevenson a ton, though. I'm going to go Tyreek Stevenson here. It says it's a reach. Trust me, he's good. He's good. Watch him. Carolina Panthers. I think we're probably going to go edge here. Potentially receivers. Zay Flowers is on the board. That's way too high for Cedric Tillman. What do we got at edge, though? Zach Harrison's still on the board. Dude's an elite athlete. I'm going to take Zach Harrison here. Detroit Lions on the board. And you know what? There's a really good tight end on the board in Dalton Kincaid. Dude, there's some good tight ends. This tight end class has some decent depth. I like it. Kansas City Chiefs. Uh, what's the value, honestly? Cody Mock is pretty decent value. Brandon Joseph is good value here. Mozzie Smith is also good. We're gonna go Mozzie Smith. Show Mozzie Smith some love. Love me some Mozzie Smith. No elite running back on the board here. I don't know. Who would you consider? Devin Achane, probably? I don't know. I feel like there's some other guys you could get later. Whereas in this case, we're going to capitalize on the value of Brandon Joseph still being on the board. All right. Philadelphia Eagles. Who have we drafted? Brian Brazee and Devon Witherspoon. I don't hate that. I really don't. I think here you could go offensive line. You got some old oldies on that offensive line that you could be looking to replace. Or we could go Jordan Battle here, which I don't hate. Hmm. This is kind of a tough spot. I'm looking, but I'm not in love with any of the edge guys on the board. I mean, are there any linemen who are actually edges? Like Lucas Van Ness, Will McDonald, you can play the edge. Maybe we go Will McDonald to play edge. I like that. Yeah, I like that pick. All right. Houston Texans. Here, we got to go offensive line. We still haven't addressed it. You could look interior defensive line. Guy like Tuli Peloto still on the board. Corner is a huge need. Not a great value, but Travius Hodges Tomlinson would probably be my next guy. I do like. But instead, we're going to look offensive line. Definitely not Jalen Duncan. Whew, no, no. No, no. I think Cody Moss is probably the next best guy. Jarrett Patterson's good. Cedric Van Pran is also pretty good. Steve Avila could potentially go this high. Luke Leiper, if you're looking for a center, he's a good one. We're going to go for tackle Cody Mock to finish out this 2-round NFL mock draft. What'd you guys think? Who did I leave off? Did I mess up for your team? Let me know. But until next time, peace out.